Welcome back to this video on developing web applications. And in the previous video, we talked about the XAMPP control panel, the PHPMYADMIN, and the features of XAMPP control panel. And we started by clicking on the buttons in front of Apache to start the Apache services, and we also clicked on the button in front of MySQL. So with that, we were able to access the local hosts, and from the local host, we're able to access the PHPMyAdmin. Now, there's something I want you to understand that without starting the control panel, you may not be able to access the local host. Let's give it a trial. I stop the Apache services. Now the service has stopped, and I want to get to reach the local host now. I'm sure this is not going to give you any results because the local host does not exist. So it means that when you restart your system and your Apache is not running, it's not likely you have access to your local host. So each time you restart your system, you need to launch the control panel and click on the start button in front of the Apache so that you can work effectively. The same thing goes for MySQL. Okay, if I decide to stop MySQL services from running, and okay, since Apache is running, I should be able to access the dashboard, the local host. But to access the MySQL database might be very difficult. So if I click on PHPMyAdmin, I'm not sure we are going to gain access. You can see it says access denied and all of these and all of that. So it means you must always ensure that while you are working on this project, you are to start the MySQL services by clicking the button in front of it on the control panel, on the XAMPP control panel platform. So let's try and refresh the page. Great, we have our MySQL database. So let me quickly do a little introduction of the database. Towards the left hand side column here, we have the information schema, MySQL performance schema, PHPMyAdmin. Some of the databases here are meant to corroborate the functionality of the MySQL. Well, we will not tamper with all these. We will not touch them. We are going to create our own database. So how do we go about that? We click on databases, and when you click on databases, it gives you this form to fill, and you have the database name. Now I want to create a database for a school, so I can call it school. We have the database called school, and we can simply click on create. There's something I want to also to let you understand. The database, the MySQL database on this platform does not come with password. So the username is a root, that's a default username, and the password is nothing. So you can actually access the database directly through the localhost / phpMyAdmin address on the browser. So if the password is enabled, you may have to log in with the username and the password. So because this particular video is not tending towards that, so I just want you to know that we have access to this platform, localhost / phpMyAdmin, because the root user does not have a password. So now we have a database called school. Then we want to create a table. Let's call the table student record. student underscore record. Yes, this word is allowed when you're creating your table. It's allowed in MySQL, but you do not use an hyphen is not allowed. In fact, a word is better off. When you're creating your table, make it one word. You can decide to make it student record. It's all well, but you cannot make it a student space record. It has to be a word. So if you have to merge two words or three, make use of the underscore. And you cannot have a table that starts with a number. It is an error in MySQL. So your table name should start with an alphabet. You can decide to end it with number. It's fine. So I have student record here. And how many columns am I looking at? I want to capture the full name, their email, the phone number, and the matric number. So, and I also want to have an ID column that will be the special column, a unique column, and it's going to be called the primary key. It's going to have the primary key feature. So we have 5 number of columns: the ID, the full name, the email, the ID, full name, email, phone number 4, then the matric number, making 5. So you just specify here and you click on go. Now we're still in the process of creating a table, and it is inside of this table that we shall be submitting our form, application form, right from the web browser. So the first column is ID, the second is full name, the third is email, fourth is phone, and the last but not the least, that's the matric number, matriculation number. Okay, now let's select the data type. For ID, it's going to continue to increase, so I prefer to use integer, which is the default, and this is 11. Why did I choose 11? It means I can store up to 99,999,999,999 records in the table. So as my table expands, I have no issues. Okay, and there's no default. Okay, I have to sort of scroll to the right and make it auto increment, and automatically it assigns a primary key to it. So when you click on go, it's assigned the primary key, and it's also meant to auto increment. Primary key means that it's going to make your record unique. This particular ID cannot be duplicated in a record, so we cannot have 2 records with the same ID. So it makes your work neat and with integrity. Auto increment means that we're going to have it move from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and it automatically increases by 1. So that's all about that. So the full name, we can have it as variable character. Full name, let's say the maximum character can be 120. Okay, and we have the email, the same thing, the maximum character can be 120. It's going to be a crazy one if we have an email that is far more than 120 characters. So, and we have phone numbers. In this part of the world, phone numbers do not maximum you have a phone number is 11, but if you need to add the country code, which is 234, that means you are going to have it as 14. But some might prefer to add plus, so that means we can have plus 234, then with the 10 okay, plus 234 with the 10 digit phone number, we make it 14. So let's make it 14 as the maximum, and matric number can make it 20. It all depends on the school, but in our school, the maximum character for matric number will be 12 characters. We don't need to allow the database to accept junks. So that means we can limit uh, the number of characters that we submitted in our table, since we already know the kind of data that we expect from the users of our application. So having done that, we want to save the table, and the process is just very fast. Now we have a table. Now we have a database called school. We have a table called student record. So in the next video, we are going to uh, start writing our codes. We start with HTML for the form. Also, we are going to and subsequently we are going to add the PHP. Okay, let's go back to our objectives. We have been able to develop, access the PHPMYADMIN page. We've created a database and a table. Database name we created was school, and the table created is student record. And on the student record, we have these fields, these columns. We have full name, email, phone number, and matric number, and we have ID as a as a as an index or the primary key to all records. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Iyiola Omotayo, and this is my website, omotayoiyiola.com.ng. You can get me on Facebook, like my page on Facebook.